Hey everyone, it's Ari Santiago, and welcome to a highlight episode of the Made in America podcast. You know, over the last nearly 2 years, I've had the pleasure of talking to dozens of leaders across Connecticut to help advance our dual goals here. One, to share the great things that are happening in manufacturing and the tremendous careers that are available there. And two, to provide a platform where we can learn and grow together. One of the things we have heard over and over again from all these leaders is about the great organizations that exist in this state, whether it's peer organizations, technology support, lean, and so many others. Over and over again, people have talked about these great organizations and how it's helped advance their business. We hope you enjoy this highlight episode and seek out these organizations so they can help your business learn and grow as well. A quick interruption to remind you to like, subscribe, and rate this podcast so we can get your feedback and know how to make it better. Today, I'm with Pedro Soto, President and CEO of High Grade Precision Technologies. ACM is well known, and I don't know if all manufacturers know in Connecticut, but the aerospace component manufacturers, that group, is the envy of the aerospace world, literally. Yeah. People in other countries, including other places where aerospace is prevalent, other places in the US and Great Britain, want to understand how we have this. So for anyone that doesn't know, what is the ACM and why do people envy it?
So the ACM, the Aerospace Component Manufacturers Association, is a regional trade group. We're focused in Connecticut and Western Massachusetts, also known as Aerospace Alley. But we are I think we're 115 member companies. And we consist of everything from, small machine shops to some of the larger tier one suppliers. And we run the gamut from, 10-person to 500-person companies, mostly, in that kind of smaller business area. But we consist of a whole bunch of supply chain companies for aerospace. We collaborate. We have monthly meetings. We have trade shows. But it's a fantastic trade organization, which I think we had our 20th anniversary. I think it started with a group of 8 companies. And I think they really said, look, if we can start collaborating and working together, our competition isn't, while we are competitors, our competition is the rest of the world, right? So if we can collaborate and learn about best practices and help each other out and kind of support each other, then we are we're stronger together than if we're constantly trying to beat each other up over, pulling business away from each other.
It's been very successful and impressive. Yeah. Other people that have been on the podcast have talked and raved about it. And I had the privilege of being at the trade show last year, and I know a number of the member companies. And I think what's been so unique, I think, and you touched on it right there, is that it's competitors, but it's like, I don't know what the right, how you combine competition and cooperation into one word. Right. But I think people might be surprised to know that, they'll have events at someone's shop and you can come in and see what they're doing. And there's real open conversation about how things are doing and sort of that race to the top mentality. How can we work together? And there's classes that will come in and, train you on various compliances you need to know about, whether it's ITAR or, cybersecurity compliance. And there's lean process trainings and how to deal with push outs and, pay delays. And I mean, it's just amazing.
Yeah. I mean, the group itself basically tries to tackle the issues that we're all dealing with and figure out ways collaboratively how to deal with that. I think the big push as well, which I think, has Paul's stamp on it, and certainly is important for the ACM, is education and training the next generation workforce. And I think that's been one of our big successes. Big successes is helping, drive curriculum change, helping, at the community college level, sort of kind of help point them in the right direction, talking to high schools. I mean, our trade show, the Workforce Opportunity Fair had, 1,100 kids who were exposed to supply chain manufacturing, and hopefully a few of them were like, oh, wow, that's what I want to do.
All right, I'm here with Tim Backus from Harcon Chrome.
And what I can tell you about Connecticut is I don't think there's another region in the world that has the aerospace expertise that we have.
In the world. I just want to repeat that
in
for
the world,
podcast.
In the world. And I say that I say that from the standpoint and being a little bit jaded from the standpoint of being highly involved with our local cluster group, the Aerospace Components Manufacturers. And I'd be remiss by not mentioning them because they're an amazing organization that has grown to probably, I don't know, 140,
I think. But
I don't remember what the number is now.
I think it's 140.
But and every one of those companies collaborate, work together to continue to grow the aerospace market here in Connecticut, and the expertise that each one of these companies has and how they fit in with their little niche of the aerospace industry. I don't think you find that in such a concentrated location anywhere in the world. There's not another group like ACM anywhere. There's other similar ones,
sure,
but with the impact and the effect that the ACM has here, it's huge. So what Connecticut has to offer the aerospace industry is really second to none, in my opinion, from anywhere else.
I'm here this week with Jameson Scott, Executive Vice President of Air Handling Systems and the Executive Director of the New Haven Manufacturing Association. What do you think NHMA brings to the manufacturing landscape in Connecticut, and how does it help Connecticut manufacturers kind of in general?
So there's three main things that we do. We do programming, we do economic development through our government affairs committee, and we do a lot of workforce development. So those are the three main pillars of the association. We certainly, care about our members, and we want to continue to grow the organization and get members. And so when we talk about NHMA, it used to be the New Haven Manufacturers Association, founded in 1913, actually as the Employers Association of New Haven County. The landscape is much different today. So we're actually strategically getting away from calling ourselves New Haven Manufacturers Association because we really are a statewide manufacturing association. We have members throughout the entire state, primarily Southern Connecticut, but because of the value we're providing, we're finding more and more manufacturers joining us from throughout the state. Programming wise, we used to always do our programs in downtown New Haven. Again, strategically, that's not a good thing if you want to reach a broad customer base. So we're moving our programs throughout pretty much throughout the entire state. Greater Bridgeport area, we have a large group of members up the 91 corridor over to the shoreline. We're doing tours throughout the entire state. So that lets members, be able to reach us much more easily. Programming is everything from plant tours to our Millennials in Manufacturing series we're doing. We had a networking event last night where we had over 75 people join us. So we're very strong in programming. The other part of it is the government affairs. Government affairs used to be legislative. Legislative was primarily, just working with the folks in Hartford. But we do a lot more with that. A lot more than that. We work on the local level with mayors and first selectmen. We work with most of the economic development directors in our region. On the state level, we certainly work with the folks in the state, the legislature, the reps, the senators. We work with the governor's office and the various commissioners from DOL to DRS to DCD and some of the other ones, education. And then on the federal level, we work with our Congress, whether it's Representative Himes, Representative DeLauro, work with them regularly. And then on the Senate side, along with yourself being on Senator Murphy's Manufacturing Council, I go to DC, I'd say at least twice a year, if not more, with various groups supporting whether it's workforce issues, whether it's manufacturing related issues. And then the third part of it is the workforce development side. And I like to say we focus on K through career. So everything from the elementary level, the middle schools, the high schools. Today being manufacturing day, I was started my day at 7:30 at Amity High School, talking to about 50 students about careers in manufacturing. And then at 9, I went over to Hamden High School, addressed the Hamden Engineering Career Academy students, 35 students in there. We'll circle back and talk about that in a minute. And then we work with the community colleges. We work with the colleges and universities. I was at UConn, their innovation center on Wednesday. Cool. That place is awesome.
Yeah, it's very cool what they're doing up there. There's no doubt about that.
Workforce really, again, K through career and everything in between.
I'm with Marcy Minnick, CEO of Excello Tool Engineering and Manufacturing. So we ran into each other at Manufacturer CT. We used to be called the NHMA.
Right.
How long have you guys been involved in Manufacturer CT?
So I've been a member of Manufacturer CT for 4 years. I went on the board 2 years ago, and now I'm the vice president of it. So it's been an amazing organization that I've gotten involved in. It certainly has educated me and put me in touch with so many great resources and great people that are like-minded, that are all kind of having the same issues or same ideas. And I would encourage anybody who's in this manufacturing industry to jump on board, because it's really a great resource.
Having been in the business for so long, and Excello being in business for so long in Connecticut, why so long before you guys kind of got involved in one of the manufacturing groups?
I didn't know about it. My accountant actually, showed up, and he was a member of it, and just said, "You really need to get involved in this. You really need to get involved in this." I mean, over the last 4 years, it has grown tremendously, right? And we've had a brand change, and we're strategizing to go statewide. So it's changing. But I also think that it's diversified. I think if you probably walked in 8 years ago to manufacturing, NHMA, there probably would have been a whole different demographic of people there that you would find now. There's so many organizations that are, suited for who I was in the industry. I was young. I came into manufacturing at 30 years old, 28 years old, whatever it may be. And I'm a woman.
Right.
So I kind of was not the norm. And now I'm finding that I am. I've met a tremendous amount of really powerful, strong manufacturing women throughout that organization. Some young, the next generation. So I think as it changes and as it morphs into the next generation, you're going to find it to be even a greater resource. Do
you find that the group Manufacturer CT and other groups in Connecticut have been helpful in helping, number one, to educate you on what manufacturing is and see different aspects, as well as helping you network with other women and other people in manufacturing?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There's, a slew of organizations out there. The other one we belong to is Women in Manufacturing, WIM, which I went to a conference that they had done in Boston 2 years ago, which, absolutely blew my socks off. It was really phenomenal to see. It was a room full of really bright, really powerful, really innovative women who are all engaged and supported by this manufacturing community. So I would like to take every single young woman or transitional woman who wants to get into this industry to these events and just show them, this is, you can be STEM, you can be coding, you can be anything you want. You can get your hands dirty. It is out there, and we are just as powerful and strong and innovative as anybody else in our industry.
I'm with Jill Mayer, CEO of Beat Industries. So let's talk a little about NHMA. I think trade associations are great, and you've been super involved in NHMA. So you have a limited amount of time and a lot of places you can put that time, and you've decided to put some of it with NHMA. So talk about why.
I was telling the executive director this the other day. My father forced me to do it. I said, Dad, I'm not ready right now. When I moved into his role, I said, I'm not ready right now. Can I first get myself settled? No, this is going to be important. This is going to help you make connections. This is going to help you. And so I got on the board, and I thought, what can I offer? This is, I'll just listen, And after some listening and meetings, I'm the type of person where after listening, I have a few things to say. I have a few things to add.
No, you don't say.
Just try to shut me up.
That's
Just
right.
try. And then so I spoke up with an opinion about how I thought something should be done. And the response was, well, that would be great if you could lead up that effort. And I was like, shoot, I walked right into that one. So if you have an opinion about how things should go, and you want to change things, and you go to the NHMA, chances are you're going to be the one leading that particular initiative. And I think that's kind of cool, because it's like, cool. Look, great, we agree with you. We need help. Step in and help. And so as soon as I got involved in helping with an initiative or whatever it was, I was hooked after that, because there's a need there, and there's a real community there. There's a community that's not there anymore that is there with manufacturing associations. So
thinking about your time at NHMA and thinking about what you or other manufacturer who's thinking about joining and what they might get out of it, well, what do you get out of it? When you look at it, what's kind of the couple of things that you feel like, man, I'm investing my time and this is what I'm getting in return?
So I really stay ahead of trends and what's going on in the industry. I don't have a lot of time to spend reading news articles. So that's kind of my plug for that. And then the other piece is colleagues in the NHMA, other manufacturers, talking about issues that I have. And do you have a similar issue? You have nobody to bounce those ideas off of. And also, there's not I can't talk to every employee about all of my concerns. Sometimes it's nice to talk to someone at your level about the concerns that you have, and are you seeing the same thing, and what are you doing, and how. So there's a lot of best practice sharing that I think is really underrated, because you could get help. There's 5 things to try, right? Your colleagues could say, well, I tried this, check this one out. So it's almost like you can shorten the time frame that you get to the right answer with things like that, I believe. So it's been a great network of support for me.
I'm with Cindy Zoldi, who's the executive director of SMA and the chairman of WIM. But just real quickly, what does someone get by being a member of the SMA? Like, if just give a quick little pitch of like someone's watching this and thinking, should I be a member of SMA? Like, how do I know if I'm the right person to be an SMA, and what do I get from joining?
Right. Well, my elevator speech changes because, what we're looking to do always changes. But
Sure.
What I can say that the SMA does is, listen, you have me who's out there.
Right.
I'm out there. I'm representing you. I'm giving you everything that I can to help you be successful in the state of Connecticut. We have a lobbyist. The lobbyist helps navigate things. We have ties to the technical schools. If you're looking for a student, you could certainly use me as somebody who can help you leverage getting the right person into your shop. We have networking opportunities. We have a bunch of silly but fun benefits, like Palace Theater in Waterbury. You get reduced tickets prices for being an SMA member. So, I mean, that's kind of exciting. We've got new things coming down the pike in 2020 that we're looking at right now. That's going to be a huge benefit to members. I mean, I don't want to reveal too much of that because it's still in development, but it could be potentially a game changer for what it is that we offer potential members. But I think if you're an engaged person who has a manufacturing facility, or if you are somebody that can be an associate member that actually supports the manufacturing community and just wants to get to know local manufacturers, what they do, how they do it, then the SMA is a really great resource. I mean, we bring in 100 people on a Monday night for a dinner meeting. I don't know any other group that does that.
Today, I'm with Karen McWhirt, president of Prospect Machine Products, who also happens to be a former executive director of SMA. As a former executive director at SMA and an SMA member now, can you, I guess first, why don't we tell people what SMA is in case anybody doesn't know? Let's start
Smaller
there.
Manufacturers Association of Connecticut. It is a business group focused solely for manufacturers. That isn't to say that all of our members are manufacturers, but the bylaws do require that to be the majority of the membership. Providing services to the members as far as new topics that are coming on, working in the educational area, working in the legislative area. So pretty well-rounded, been around for quite some time.
Absolutely. I think SMA is the second name even. I think originally it was like the Waterbury Manufacturers or something like that. And I know SMA is a part of the Connecticut Manufacturers Collaborative, the CMC. So from your perch as former executive director and now as a member, what's some value that you think people get by being a member of SMA?
Well, I think you touched on it earlier when you talked about colleagues and peers, but I think it's also helpful for the educational side of it. We have also utilized that relationship to better understand the apprenticeship program, involvement with the tech schools within the state. It's very customary for us at Prospect Machine to have an apprentice. A lot of them start when they can start at 16. It's a work-based program. Without that connection to the SMA, you might not know that the way about to even get involved. Because SMA stays in touch with those schools, you have that win-win both for the members as well as for the students.
So yeah, super critical. And listen, I personally have that benefited in my life and in my career immensely, not just in the success I've had in business, but so many personal relationships and personal assistance that I've gotten through peer relationships and peer groups that I've been in. So I'm a big fan. So maybe just quickly you could give a pitch for someone who isn't a member of, their local manufacturers association or whatever. Like, why should someone join? Why should they take their time and their money and put it in that area?
It's worthwhile. It's going to pay you back tenfold. There's almost too many elements that you could gain from joining, without sounding cliche. But once again, to talk to somebody who maybe had a similar problem, came up with a resolution, or let's say there's a new standard coming out, having the opportunity to get some free for all intents and purposes, without hiring the consultant, some better understanding or training of that idea, to get greater awareness about what programs are available for manufacturing, and just in general, to further support manufacturing in the state of Connecticut.
Today, I'm with Nancy Traver from Traver IDC. Talk about SMA and your involvement there. What prompted you to get involved? What is your involvement?
I had been going to some of the SMA meetings over the years that I've been back in the business, and I find, again, great friendships, great interest in the types of activities that the presentations are always really well attended, and some of the social events and different things that we've been including. And so I'm actually membership chair, and looking to help support the organization in that way. Also secretary treasurer, so kind of working my way up in the organization that way also. So.
Why would somebody who's listening to this right now, who's maybe like kind of in the greater Waterbury area or just interested in the SMA, why would they want to join, do you think?
One of the reasons is the support of things that you can't do as you're in the business, right? So the legislative connection and the newsletter and the informational purposes, going to the different programs, all of those things, I think, just give you a support system well beyond what anybody's capable in this multitasking, fast-paced world that we are all in. So. Support in all of those ways.
I'm here today with Ray Coombs, president of Westminster Tool. Before we get to rapid fire, I don't know if you want to touch at all on EMA, which I know we're both deeply involved in. If there's anything you wanted to plug on the EMA front, or anything you're doing with the Plastics Academy.
So the EMA,
Eastern Advanced Manufacturing Alliance.
well done, started for myself and 7 guys 10 years ago, when I started down the journey of getting involved in the community. And in order to solve that problem of workforce development, there's many, many different fronts of it. One of them, and we didn't touch on it all, was community. But we started, that back then was Quinnebog Valley Plastics Institute or something like that. So we had a program, a 2-year associate's program at QV. During the first crash, that went away very quickly. And then it evolved. What I saw from, actually, I was driven to grow that because when I walked to academia with my 15 employees, they said, why don't you leave your card at the door or whatever. Nobody would listen. So I got short man syndrome. I went and I got a bunch of people that their voice mattered, and I got us together on a crusade, a common cause for the good of everyone. And that's how we came together. From that, we said, wow, we're living a lot of the same dreams / nightmares. We should get together more. And so then we expanded it. We were just with QV. We expanded it to 3 Rivers, and now we're including Middlesex in the middle of the state. It's the predominant mantra or marching orders for EMA is really that topic of workforce development. Presently. It could be something completely different 3 years from now.
But it is, I mean, now EMA's up to 76 members, right. Which is a big growth from the 7 or 6, 7, 8 we started with. And I agree, workforce development, which is just so absolutely critical. I mean, it dovetails to me so nicely with what you're doing at Westminster, because talent development and the availability of talent is the battleground we need to win in the future. We need to win it in our companies, and we need to win it in our community. And so it's awesome that you're out there doing that with EMA and building. And I don't even know how many people, I didn't know how big kind of plastics was in Connecticut. It's big. And it's awesome to be building up a platform for that. Continuing our theme with tremendous women in manufacturing, I am so excited to have Meredith Shea on the podcast today. Meredith and I know each other from serving on the board of EMA, and from her just being such a tremendous person and supporter of Connecticut, CEO of Incord in Colchester, Connecticut.
I'm involved in EMA like you are because I really believe we're creating a workplace for future generations. And I want those future generations to understand how important manufacturing is in the U.S., how great a career it can be for them, and that we don't want to lose those skills in our communities. That value that they can bring, even if the company goes away, you'll never lose those skills. Those are translatable skills where you can add value to anything. You could start working in your garage and with the skills you've learned, start your own business. We want to teach that to people. We want them to believe in themselves.
I'm with Chris Dipentima, President, CEO of CBIA. However, I know CBIA is for all businesses, but this is a manufacturing podcast, so we're going to stick to that. How do you think manufacturers benefit from CBIA?
Oh, there's a lot of things that CBIA offers. I'm still learning on day 3. It's amazing how many services CBIA has that I didn't know about. And I've been a board member for 8 years and a member for 15 years before becoming its president and CEO. For our small and medium-sized businesses, we offer insurance, right? So we offer basically kind of a group-sized insurance that hopefully keeps your insurance costs lower. Insurance benefits are some of the higher costs that people see. Included insurance is not just medical and healthcare, but we'll do property and casual. We have a workers' comp, which a lot of the manufacturing community takes advantage of because workers' comp can be very high for manufacturers and quite costly. It's not probably well publicized and well known that we have this workers' comp insurance, but it's used quite a bit by the manufacturing community and probably can be used more. We have energy services that we try to broker energy services in order to give people the best pricing on energy. For manufacturers, energy is usually one of your top 5 line items on the P&L as far as a cost point of view. So obviously that helps manufacturers from a direct cost competitiveness point of view. Obviously, CBIA is known for its lobbying and its trying to advocate for businesses and have a strong, thriving business climate with favorable business regulations and policies. And that's around taxes, that could be around regulations, DEP, environmental policies and regulations, which certainly no doubt affect manufacturers. There's just CBI offers a lot, and one of my early things, including Concept and our affiliate, which is primarily focused on manufacturers but works in other industry sectors around improving, growing your top line, helping you grow your top line with strategy and marketing, and also improving your bottom line through operational efficiencies, lean, cybersecurity now, and cybersecurity assessments, which are critical, as you know, through the CMMC in order to do defense work. So CBI offers a variety of services. One of my early things, as I was just about to say, is I need to get that on a one-pager. We need to get that at CBI on a one-pager and get it out to the world so that our current members know, hey, you have these other things and take advantage of them because you're a member of CBI. And our people who aren't members of CBI understand, okay, now I know the full value of CBI. They're not just a lobbying group, or they're not just a health insurance group, but they do all these other things, which are very helpful for manufacturers.
We have Rene Patel, Vice President of Operations at RSCC Cable and Wire.
I believe that CBIA brings a lot to the table. I've learned that when it comes to advocacy at the state capitol, we basically are the voice. We have influence on promoting globally competitive agenda from that perspective. When it comes to public policies, we have a voice in that. The more companies, well, that's one. 2, CBI also offers a range of products and services. So you start from anywhere from insurance, benefits to the employees, HR-related things. The very popular one, and I have used it several times myself through different companies, is the energy purchase program. So in this deregulated state, it's, make sure that you're getting competitive rate. And CBI does an excellent job at that as well. And I tell you that all that only increased that game for us with the additional game changer there was Concept. Yeah. So the collaboration with Concept has been extremely successful one.
It's a great CBI has been a long history of being so helpful for manufacturers.
Absolutely, absolutely, and not just for the manufacturers, but from a lean standpoint, Concept is all about manufacturing. But when we think about CBIA membership, I would say about 50% of, a little over 50% of our membership comes from employees, businesses that has employees from 1 to 10 employees. About 40 or more percent, another one from like 10 to 50 or something. So when you think about small businesses, we are there for small businesses. They are able to pick up the phone and say, hey, I need some HR support, legal support, whatever that may be. And as you recognize, during the COVID time, We did a tremendous job. That kudos to Joe from that standpoint of getting the meetings and getting the word out there and supporting a lot of businesses as to what COVID was about and getting UTC. I think it was UTC person to speak to that. And the third, I would say, is that the more members we have, the bigger the clout we have. It's as simple as that. So anyone wants to look up ROI, I'm a business person, you're a business person, Ari, please go to cbia.com, take a look on who we are. And there is actually, based on the services that each business requires, you can actually take a look at the ROI.
Today, I'm with George Gearing, president of Gearing Metal Finishing. Correct. You had mentioned NMA, you mentioned CBIA.
Yep.
So let's talk about that a little bit. Are you pretty involved in some different manufacturing groups and, with limits on your time and all the different stuff we've talked about you got to do? Why, it sounds like you are involved, why do you choose to spend your time there?
I'm not as involved as I'd like to be. I'm not on any boards or anything, but we certainly look to CBIA on a lot of our big business decisions, anywhere from when to take those holidays and what days to do that, all the way up to environmental or financial, COVID, and anything that has a major impact, looking to see what other people are doing, or, hey, here's a recommendation on how to do it.
And so you found CBIA and the NMA, with the National Manufacturing Association, for anyone that doesn't know, you found those organizations have been helpful for you
National
along the way.
Manufacturing has been key to getting awareness on getting business back into America.
Yeah.
And promoting into Washington, hey, we got to do something about it.
I'm here with Ronangelo, president and CEO of CCAT. So let's say that I am one of those smaller, manufacturers, 30, 40 employee manufacturers. I'm doing some medical device manufacturing, let's say. How does CCAT help me? How do I use the technology, the training, whatever that CCAT has to make my business better?
Well, we do everything from we can go into a business, and we work actually in conjunction with partners, remember. So our partners like Constep, the University of Connecticut, the University of Hartford, Goodwin College, the community college system, very, very, very important to our mission. So it's important that we're all aligned, and we have a lot of work to do in regarding the alignment and the type of collaborations that we have. But we can go into a company and assist them with, let's say they have a piece of equipment. Are they optimizing that piece of equipment? Are they using it the right way? Can we build more efficiencies? Can we sensor that piece of equipment to now begin to collect data? Again, start implementing smart manufacturing, Industry 4.0 technologies into their existing platform. So we can do things like that. We can help with incumbent worker training. So if they've got a group of experienced people on their shop floor, but they don't know about additive yet, how do we now introduce them to these new technologies? We do programs with Siemens NX so they can become more proficient in their programming, things like that. But the real kind of gem is, let's say they're doing a part that they've been running for years, maybe with a global industrial company. That company now comes to them and says, we need this part. We want you to design and make this part additively now with a hybrid alloy, totally different than what you've been doing. That's where CCAT comes in, and we've already gotten calls like that. How do we do this? What's the best technology? What materials are we going to use? What do we do? We have to educate them now start to finish, and we're just at the very genesis of this now, which is really interesting. And if Connecticut, and I'm not saying if, because Connecticut is, we're going to hit the mark. We need to be right in that sweet spot to be able to deliver these capabilities to our supply chain. And if we don't, then we're going to see what's happened in the past few decades around Huntsville, Alabama, and in other parts of the country that have grown tremendously. Well, they've grown it because they've attracted the technologies. So once you attract the technology, that's where the jobs migrate. So we're trying to make sure we build this continuum in place, leading with technology, following with training, incumbent worker training, and following even down the road with actually STEM awareness and education.
I'm here with Dave Parmalee, president of Webco Plastics. You mentioned CCAT, you mentioned Constep, and you guys are out there. I just, talk a little bit about your engagement with CCAT and how as a small business, not really in aerospace, that you guys got into working with CCAT and what the value you got out of it was.
It's been invaluable, our partnership with CCAT. Charles and Lynn get along great, and they look out for us if there's anything, new coming up, the pipeline, they talked to us about it. We use their facility for traction meetings off-site,
Okay.
Which helps because no one's bothering us. They've been fantastic with the grants. So the grant we got to do our surveys, that was all through CCAT. I can't say enough about CCAT.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And you mentioned Concept too, and that was
Concept has been
a big thing on your lean journey.
Yep. They got us involved. They showed us the way, and we started drinking the Kool-Aid. And now they've through the training that we've taken with them, we're empowered to do it on our own now, which is really cool.
I'm with Dean Caccaro, Vice President of Operations at Zendex Tool. So let's talk about that technology a little bit. That's exciting. So, so robotic welding. Talk about that, man. How'd you get into it?
Again, it's crazy, but I'm not trying to I don't work for Concept, I'm not a Concept rep, but the same guy was like, hey, there's also this CCAT program where, you can get funding for equipment. And so we ended up getting a grant, from that program to finance a portion of this robotic welder that we brought in.
Isn't it super interesting? We talked about this a little bit off camera earlier, but just, it's funny. There's all these different stuff out there, but no one knows about it.
I had no idea.
And all you got to do is get started, right? You get started, whether it gets started with Concept or whatever, you get started and then you invest that time and energy to learn, you get the benefits of lean, and then that's introduce you to somebody else and you learn about something else. And all of a sudden you look back and you've got this amazing trail of knowledge and opportunities that sort of came your way.
Made in America with Ari Santiago is brought to you by IT Direct, a Compass MSP company.
As always, thank you so much for tuning in and spending some time with me today. My goal is to help build a community where we can learn and grow together. Your input, feedback, and engagement is critical to making that happen. Please do comment, like, and subscribe so more and more people can hear what we're doing and join our community of growth and success. Thanks so much for tuning in. Talk to you again soon.